What's extraordinary about Palestine is that it's been the replay of a 200-year-long history of colonial expansion and genocide in the Americas. So what you're seeing is really a compressed version of that today. And it has all the brutality that was spread out over a longer period, but all the extermination brutality and really othering of people that was the basis of the kind of global capitalism that we see today. So in a way, it's not a surprise that this is where we have ended up, because this is really the way in which a lot of it really started. Certainly the globalization process itself started with quite a lot of systematic genocide and settler colonialism and all of that. But the big change that I see, especially in the last few years, is that we moved from what you could call, or what people like to call, a rules-based international order, in which really it was international legal and regulatory systems that were used to perpetuate a lot of this, what you could call colonial extraction, but inequality in different ways. This happened through trade rules, through the WTO and all the associated agreements, and many other economic partnership agreements. It happened through the rules set around the international financial institutions, the IMF and World Bank. It occurred in various ways, but it was really a legal structure that was the primary vehicle through which a lot of this exploitation and inequality was perpetuated. We're really getting a blowing up of that. And the poly crisis is partly a symptom of that and partly an origin of that, which is to say the rules-based international trade order doesn't exist anymore. It's been blown up. And it was blown up certainly by Trump, it was continued by Biden, and continued now in Europe, that none of the rules hold. We've seen the rules-based international legal order in terms of justice, etc., also blown up. So the International Court of Justice can say what it likes about what is happening, what Israel is doing, but it's not going to lead to any implications, ramifications for the country. All of the rules are no longer valid. The only rules that still remain are the rules for finance. So rules for trade, rules for other kinds of democracy, justice, etc. No, none of them really matters. The rules for finance still matter. And I think it is possible to argue that those rules for finance also are not exactly going to be blown up, because right now global capitalism needs it more than ever before, but are going to disintegrate because they also are increasingly unable to cope with the multiple and cascading crises that we're seeing. So it's a very peculiar moment in the global economy. It's one where you don't really have a clear leader in the old sense of somebody who would ensure stability, possibly at the cost of many other countries, but nonetheless would ensure global financial and economic stability, and one that would prevent the system from blowing itself up. We don't have that. Of course, there are many options. I am one of those people who would like to believe that humanity steps back from the brink. So let's assume that worst option doesn't happen. In these periods of complete flux and what seems like chaos, and as you've all been saying, in these very dark times, these dark times are when niches open up for alternative possibilities. And this we've seen historically. The global depression was one of those periods, the crises of the 70s. These are periods of cracks in the global division of labor, in the global systems of domination and control that enable both new ideas and new possibilities and new power equations to emerge.